crack the whole occasion.
We're going live, Ron.
Okay.
They used to, I've done that several times with the side of the frame over the door. That door. And those big mirrors, you know, it's not a lot to say.
All right, it's 8:17. I'll call the meeting to order. We have a combination of in-person and online participation this morning. Let's start with the mission statement. Lewis County Economic Development, through its board, the IDA, and its brand, Naturally Lewis, are championing the growth of a community where people want to live, work, build business, and play. We foster forward thinking and relationship building, connecting people, businesses, partnerships, and resources to effectively and efficiently grow our county. All right, no privilege of the floor.
I just want to make one note of one thing. This is more like shared from elementary school, but today is my mother-in-law's 98th birthday. And she is, I'm pretty sure, the only citizen in Lewis County that was a veteran of World War II. She was a member of the German Navy.
Wow.
Good. Wow, good.
Happy
said
birthday.
German Navy?
Yeah, she lost.
Still a reminder.
Yeah, as often as I can.
All right, the minutes for the December meeting were sent out last week. Did everyone have a chance to review them? Any questions or clarifications? Motion to approve. Ron, second. Herb. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Financial report.
Yeah, the finance committee got the reports via email because we didn't have a finance committee meeting in December. But just a quick review. Balance sheet, the most notable things were receiving in the number 3 wind invoicing and receiving in the number 3 wind IDA fee, as well as the Roaring Brook IDA fee. We've got about $117,000 showing on our balance sheet as missing from checking or paid out from our checking and savings that will be reimbursed between some child care boot camp expenses and the RPCI bill we paid for the Lions Falls Mill project. So that position will improve as we go towards our next fiscal year. So our net position looks like it's down, but that'll improve significantly. Any questions on the balance sheet? Our profit and loss notables here, and so these are November financials skewed, caught up on their bills in November, almost in every other month thing. So that's why you see a bigger hit there. On the revenues and fees line, that's the Roaring Brook Wind IDA fee, and that was received in October rather than November, so it just hit a different month. So we're fine on that line. If you look down at Trinity at expenses, you'll see this in the expenditures report too. We did have to spend a little bit of money on the drain in that building. This was pre-fire. They identified that the drain was not draining. It was just bubbling over, and they were having to use a pump to get any draining water out of the building. So we used Brown's, a local business, and they got that done for us. Any questions on profit and loss? We're tracking really well for this year. And then the expenditures report, I'll review that, just a couple notables quickly on that one because the finance committee didn't meet this month. We did have a bill for BCNA for some Commerce Park work that they're doing for us. North Country CPA's, that bill is over 14,000, but that's like 7 months, 8 months worth of bills. So not anything out of the ordinary. They just took a while to bill us on that. And then you see the drain for students. Well, everything else is pretty typical day to day. Is there any questions on that? I didn't have any questions back from the finance committee. Look for a motion to approve those.
Motion to approve her second. All right, Tom, now, any discussion? All in favor?
Something,
Aye.
I guess a
Aye.
comment for me, do I need to recuse myself because there was a bill for BCA in there?
I couldn't hear what she said.
Should she recuse herself from that vote because there was a bill from BCA?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
All right,
Then I will recuse myself.
Mackenzie recuses. Everyone else was in favor.
Yes.
Motion carries. Okay, moving on to items for approval. Something you've seen in your email yesterday afternoon, Kevin sent out information regarding the Fort Wyden portal project.
And I did remember that Mark has a baby due like any day. So he wasn't sure he was gonna be able to make it to this meeting. He was hoping to, but. I can get kind of an overview on the project.
Yeah.
So Mark Lemieux, he works in the DA's office, right? Or-
Yes.
He's assistant.
He's the assistant DA for the county, has done some kind of renovation projects, I believe, in the Fort Lyden area, but young entrepreneur purchased the Fort Lyden school, has closed on that transaction now. And we've seen this through finance committee and it's just one of this board, but just as a reminder. His big project vision is kind of 3-phase. The front part of that school was, let me just read this.
No, you're doing fine. I just wonder if you lost your point.
He's gonna take the front portion of the school and turn it into 10 to 12 senior living apartments. And that's the project we are focused on for the purpose of this incentive application. Down the road, the middle of the school where the cafeteria and gymnasium and kind of outside where the playground are will be hopefully some recreational or childcare use. And then the lower portion that faces the river across the street would hopefully be some maybe Airbnbs or a restaurant or some space made available for commercial use. But the project, as we're evaluating it, is for the purchase and the renovation of the front portion of the school. And that's important to keep in mind as we go through the environmental review specifically. He purchased the building for $107,000. He's expecting to spend about $300,000 on the apartment rehabilitation. And the common hallway is about $20,000. So he's used his own capital or his private financing for the purchase of the building. And then he'll be looking to take out a mortgage probably on the renovations. And so he's applied in his incentive application for a mortgage reporting tax, which helps him with that 0.75% of the mortgage to file with the county. As well as sales tax exemption, so anything he has to purchase to renovate this building would be exempt from sales tax, so that's 8% on anything he's purchasing for that, as well as a pilot. And as a reminder, we agreed that we were going to evaluate this as a Schedule A pilot under our Utep, and that's a 15-year pilot with 75% tax abatement for the first 5 years, 50% tax abatement for the next 5, and then 25% for the last 5, and then back on the full tax roll. And we did that because we considered this this use and the long-term use of the whole building as a targeted industry. All the things he's doing there are things that we have in our naturally blue strategic plan. Am I missing anything? We held a public hearing back in December for the project. Didn't have any public show up to give us any feedback, didn't have any written feedback submitted. I've heard only good things about the project. The only hesitancy I've heard is can he get it done? But everybody's a skeptic always, so I take that with a grain of salt. Also at the December meeting, we looked at the part one of the full environmental assessment form. And that's the part that the applicant fills out in regards to the project. We can kind of skim through that too if we want to. But it just kind of explains on the state's form what the project is. And then we had the option of deciding to be the lead agency that would walk through the rest of the seeker process. And the only reason that the IDA is doing that process is because the Village of Fort Lyden doesn't have any site plan review law, no zoning. So they don't have any kind of structure to do that themselves. And so because we're providing an incentive, it has to be done. And so we're doing it. It's not typical for the IDA to be doing this process. Any questions? So what we need to do today in terms of the environmental review is the full environmental assessment form part 2. That's the part that we fill out as the lead agency. So I'm going to walk you through the 18 questions on this. And on each item, the board needs to vote. Yes, we think there's a moderate to large impact that may occur, or no, no impact or very small negative impact would occur. So no means no negative impact, not no impact at all. If it's a positive impact, then it's still no.
We're only supposed to consider the front part of the building for this?
Yes,
Not the back part?
yeah, so for the sake of this process, the project is the renovation of the front portion into the senior living apartments. Are we good to go forward? Takes me back to my planning board days. All right, so item number 1, will the proposed action may involve construction on or physical alteration of the land surface of the proposed site. He's not proposing to do anything exterior to the parking lot or addition on the outside. So I would suggest the answer should be no, but we need to vote as a board.
Why do you have to go through this when there's no, it's a negative effect anyways, right? So,
No, because if it had been under 10 units of senior living, he wouldn't have had to. But because it's over, we have to go through part 2. Yeah. I forgot to remind us of that fact. Okay, so do you want to leave the votes?
Yeah, I was gonna ask a question. All right, so we need a vote on question 1, impact on land. How to,
All voting no.
everyone voting no? Anyone voting yes? Hearing no yeses, the no carries.
Impact on geological features. The proposed action may result in the modification or destruction of or inhibit access to any unique or unusual landforms on the site. Cliffs, dunes, minerals, fossils, caves.
So again, this is interior work on a building. So question 2, impact of geological features. Can we see a show for who's voting no?
I'm voting no.
Same.
Any yeses? No's carried.
Number 3, impact on surface water. The proposed action may affect one or more wetlands or other surface water bodies.
Question 3, impact on surface water. We have show of hands for voting no.
Got the river on back, right?
Right, but this is interior work to the building. So,
I'm voting no.
anyone, any yes votes? No is carried.
Impact on groundwater. The proposed action may result in new or additional use of groundwater or may have potential to introduce contaminants to groundwater or an aquifer.
All right. Any questions here? Number 4, impact on groundwater. Show of hands for no.
I'm voting no.
I'm voting no.
Any yes? No is carried.
All right, number 5, impact on flooding. The proposed action may result in development of on land subject to flooding.
Questions here? And number 5, impact on flooding. Any, or can it show of hands for no?
I'm
No.
voting no.
Any yeses? No is carried.
All right, number 6, impacts on air. The proposed action may include a state-regulated air emission source.
Cheyenne, could you say that again? Would include a what?
A state-regulated air emission source.
Oh, got it.
Any questions? Number 6, impact on air. Show of hands for no.
I'll vote
I'm
no.
voting no.
Any
no.
yeses? No is carried.
Number 7, impact on plants and animals. The proposed action may result in loss of flora or fauna.
Any questions here? Show of hands for no.
I'm voting
No.
no.
Any yeses? No is carried.
Number 8, impact on agricultural resources. The proposed action may impact agricultural resources.
Any questions here? Show of hands for no.
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 Any yeses? No is carried.
Number 9, impact on aesthetic resources. The land use of the proposed action are obviously different from or are in sharp contrast to current land use pattern between the proposed project and a scenic or aesthetic resource.
So this is really asking about the land, not the interior of the building. Right?
Yeah.
Any questions? Show of hands for no.
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 Any yeses? No is carried.
All right, number 10, impact on historic and archaeological resources. The proposed action may occur in or adjacent to a historic or archaeological resource.
Any questions? Show of hands for no.
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 Any yeses? No is carried.
Impact on open space and recreation. The proposed action may result in a loss of recreational opportunities or a reduction of an open space resource as designated in an adopted municipal open space plan.
Any questions? Show of hands for no.
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 Any yeses? No is carried.
Impact on critical environmental areas. The proposed action may be located within or adjacent to a critical environmental area.
Be that from the buildings that we poured off and on Lincoln Street.
I think that one comes up if you auto-generate the part one form, which I've done, and it didn't.
Any questions? Show of hands for no.
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 Any yeses? No is carried.
Number 13, impact on transportation. The proposed action may result in a change to existing transportation systems.
Any questions? Show of hands for no.
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 Any yeses? No is carried.
Number 14, impact on energy. The proposed action may cause an increase in the use of any form of energy.
This is really all relative to past use, right? So it's suggesting this was using more energy than the school used. Which, yeah, no, I know, but that's what I'm
Right.
saying as a
Yeah, I think
reference.
He's gonna use the same heating system.
as far as I know, I think that one had been converted. I'm not sure on that.
Any other questions? Show of hands for no.
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 Any yeses? No is carried.
Number 15, impact on noise, odor, and light. The proposed action may result in an increase in noise, odors, or outdoor lighting. I think it'll be quieter than the past years.
Yeah. Any questions? Show of hands for no.
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 no,
Any yeses? No is carried.
Number 16, impact on human health. The proposed action may have an impact on human health from exposure to new or existing sources of contaminants.
Building of the, seven.
Comment was that the building has previously had a remediation, interior remediation. All right, number 6, any other questions? Number 16, show of hands for no.
No.
no,
Any yeses? No is carried.
Number 17, consistency with community plans. The proposed action is not consistent with adopted land use plans. As far as I know, there aren't any land use plans. It's one of those double negatives too. Not consistent. Right.
Any questions? Show of hands for no.
No.
no,
No.
Any yeses? No is carried.
And number 18, consistency with community character. The proposed project is inconsistent with the existing community character.
Questions?
It's allowed to be inconsistent in a good way.
Show of hands for no.
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 Any yeses? No is carried.
All right, that gets us through part 2. So part 3, Kevin, we need to do it.
Part 3, you're pretty much done. There is the determination significance has 3 options on the second page. It could be a negative declaration, so box A should be checked. So really what needs to happen is the resolution for a negative declaration should be approved, and then you can check box A on this part 3. Form and send it in to the TEC.
Does this need to be a roll call or anything?
Does not.
So we need a motion to approve a negative declaration based on the results of part 2.
We have actually a drafted resolution for it.
Okay,
Yes, and that's one that Kevin sent along. That last night, day before. And it's not a roll call, it's just somebody needs to resolve
but-
that.
make the motion for the resolution determining the environmental non-significance under the state environmental quality review law of the proposed project by Portland Portal LLC. Do I have a motion? Herb, second. Ron, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
What's this procedure?
All right, now this would be the inducement resolution, correct?
Yeah, so this is the one that would allow us to move forward with providing the incentives we talked about.
So this will be a roll call vote. Any questions here? Have a motion? Tom, second. Ron? All right, roll call. We'll start. Darlene,
Yes.
Mackenzie,
Yes.
Goggin,
Yes.
Herb,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Joe, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else there?
Same thing with your exhibit A. Probably pass. It's a little bit change of format. It's a more specific.
Yeah, this exhibit A was attaches to the resolution, just pointing out that that's part of the resolution that we just passed that kind of outlines. It gives us a tiny bit of wiggle room for the exact mortgage recording tax and the exact, well, not amount of sales tax, but it kind of lays out what this board is estimating the benefit to be. And on the pilot, we can't really put a dollar number to that because we don't know what they're gonna assess it at as it moves through its, as he moves through his renovations. So that's why we can only put the schedule of percentages on it.
And this is something that we will continue to add to final resolutions for these types of projects. Kind of modeled off of how we format the solar resolutions with just the expected benefit to the community, but not as in-depth as what Project Russ provides to us. Just trying to get a little bit more specific in our resolutions.
And then, of course, by the time it makes it to pilot agreements and project agreements, that stuff is all completely nailed out. But it gives at least, if anybody in the public wanted to come check this out on our website, gives them an idea of what we're doing for the project.
Any other questions, comments there? Executive Director's report.
Yes, so a few highlights from the month of December. Jenna got married. Congrats to Jenna. She's now Jenna Lorraine, so we all have to try to remember that.
Including me.
Just want to let the board know that we were able to send out our draft revised Utep universal or uniform tax exemption policy out to all affected taxing jurisdictions within the county. We put a deadline of the end of January to provide any feedback or comments back on that. And at our next board meeting, we will review any of those comments that we receive. And in regard to the Utep and Solar, I had a conversation with Darlene the other day. Some of you may have heard that the state has just come out with a new assessment model on how assessors are now supposed to assess solar and wind projects across the state. There is some concern from Town of Denmark, for example, that it would affect the existing pilot agreement with the Copenhagen Wind Project. We are in discussions with Candy Aiken at the Real Properties Office, have sent the town of Denmark's concerns to our attorneys at Hodgson Ross. Going to talk to other IDAs across the state to see if they're seeing any issues with the new assessment model versus the existing pilot agreements. And we don't have any answers at this point, but we will definitely keep you all posted on how that plays out. And this is really stemming from a current example. There's a developer in Albany County who has an existing pilot, but with the new assessment model, their pilot payment is more than what the assessed value of that project is. So they're kind of contesting the pilot, saying that it's more than what they would pay under this new model. So there are concerns that it might affect existing pilots, but again, we don't know if it's retroactive. We just don't have answers for that right now. So we'll definitely keep you all posted on that.
So it's going from a megawatt revenue-based assessment to
It's a whole formula that the state, that NYSERDA came out with, because the concern was these assessors were going to the state saying, we have no clue how to assess these projects, help us. You know, they're trying to figure out how to assess it on their own. Well, the state now came out with a model, and from what we're seeing, for example, in Albany County, that assessed value, that payment is lower than what their pilot payment is.
The Tug Hill Commission had a webinar a few months ago with an attorney that had been involved with the process, and that's recorded, so I can find the link and send it out if you guys are interested. But it was reviewing this new, it's basically a computerized thing where you plug in the values and it gives you an assessment from, and the comments made on that webinar is it's very friendly towards developers.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that goes along with the vision that
Yeah.
they want to have, wind and solar, green power, whatever the numbers are by.
Yeah.
Whatever the gate is, so.
Yeah, and so the concern is that for some of these smaller projects, pilots might just go by the wayside for them. So all of this work that we're doing in our Utep, who knows what process will be implemented in the next year or two. But either way, we've sent out the Utep to all the taxing jurisdictions for review, and we will review all of that at our next meeting and hopefully adopt that revised version. Any other questions on that? A few other things. We assisted Omnia Advanced Materials out of Beaver Falls. They were formerly known as Omnia Filtra. We assisted them with a CFA grant application. They are embarking on a very large project, a $6 million project to rebuild a piece of machinery that's already existing in their plant. And it will allow them to increase capacity, get into new product markets, and create 14 new jobs. So that's a large project that they are hoping to start this year. So we're working with them on finding different funding sources to help make that happen. And lastly, we continue to talk with Cazenovia and the Lava Farmers Co-op on co-locating together in what was the Commerce Park project that the IDA started 4 years ago. So we're still in discussions with them. We're currently waiting on engineers for estimates moving forward. But we do plan to schedule a projects committee meeting here within the next month or two to just talk about a number of larger projects that we're thinking about. So we'll keep you all posted on that. And then we are still waiting on about 7 solar pilot closings. We were hoping to get those closed by the end of the year. But Cheyenne's been nudging the attorneys, and hopefully those happen soon.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely want those to close before March 1st. This tax year, or this property tax rate.
Any other questions?
Just a comment that back to the solar, I received a call from a concerned farmer the other day about the loss of land that he was leasing to a solar project, which, as we've discussed, there's no way for a farm to compete with, on a per acre basis for the land that the landowner can receive in solar. So this is just another example of a farm that's losing significant acreage that'll have a pretty negative impact on their business because of the solar project.
So driving up the price of having to rent land just generally across the county.
Yeah, well, because the solar is so fragmented,
Right.
I don't know if it's uniformly doing so at this point, but land has traditionally rented for $50 to $100 an acre, maybe in the low 100s when it's really competitive, and now you're comparing that to $1,000 an acre from the solar company. So it's not even playing in the same ballpark for the farm to even consider, it's not even something that would be affordable for the farm to try to compete with. So.
And there has been a lull in developers approaching the IDA. It's been very quiet. We haven't had any new developers. So I'm kind of wondering if it's because this new assessment model is coming out or different reasons. So that's why we're gonna continue to talk to other IDAs and see what's happening in their counties.
Is there any capacity in that grid to bring any new solar?
Well, that's also a challenge.
Yeah.
In a lot of places,
There's not there.
either proximity to a substation or just capacity in general. Big
And it
bottlenecks.
continues to be a black box, and for the most part, you can't get an answer without paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to National Grid to get a yes or no. So.
The project down in Lewis, I guess it is that line?
Oh, Duke,
Yeah, the Duke Energy one, is that doing anything?
we've not heard anything.
That we haven't heard from that developer in probably 6 months. They keep having to resubmit their bid on the state cycle, whatever level they're in, and haven't been successful yet.
So this new assessment probably Rebecca, we always want to submit a bid to figure out what the assessment's going to be for any new projects.
Yeah, possibly, and that could be why some of the developers aren't pushing to get the ones that we have approved but not signed yet. When the developer isn't pushing, obviously, we're pushing our attorney, but if the developer is not also pushing, it may be because they're waiting to see how this plays out until spring comes.
There's also, I don't understand it all, but I was involved in a meeting in December where there were some developers on the call that were expressing concerns about some of the state's incentives. So they were actually complaining at the time, especially for the community scale, those ones under 5 megawatts, that there was some uncertainty from the incentive side that was causing them to slow down some projects. And so, which I found to be interesting, which I guess it's probably not surprising, but given how much the state's pushing this, that these people made it sound like it was actually question marks around the state incentives they were expecting that were causing them to take a pause, even though the state continues to increase how much they're asking for, so.
Yeah.
So that was voiced as a concern as well, so it could be a combination of all of these factors. But that was definitely voiced as the driving issue at that point. No one on that call mentioned anything about the assessments. Not that it might not be part of it, but it was not brought up at that point.
Always changing.
All right, anything else?
That's all I got.
All right, I don't think we had any correspondence.
No.
New business.
All right, just wanted to let you know that our monthly lease increased. We signed another year with Keller Red LLC for our office space. And it increased basically because what was our original amount? $750?
700.
It was $700 a month with the thought that maybe we would purchase the building within a year. And obviously we have not gotten to that point yet. So the landlords increased our lease a little bit just to market rate. So we're now at $950 a month, and we do, just as a reminder, we do split that cost and most utilities with the chamber, who's also in our office. So just wanted to make you all aware. That is what the increased monthly lease payment is in our transactions. That's what that's for. Any questions on that?
After having been there for a period of time now, what are your thoughts on the space going forward?
We love being back downtown. We think it's a great location. We're really gonna have to think about if we want to purchase that building and renovate it and create the second and third floors into something usable. We have great visions for it, but again, is it feasible? Is it worth it? Back earlier this year, we brought in a structural engineer just to take a look at the building. And the second floor it's structurally not sound at this point. But again, we have to sit down and kind of plan out if that's a long-term project that we want to take on. We were hoping on the DRI for the village. And if we did get the DRI, we definitely would be proposing that we take on that project. There's certainly other grants that we could apply for to help create, co-working space and office space and just kind of transform that building into something that's a little bit more usable. But again, a lot of planning will be involved in that.
Is
And we'll
DRI Downtown Revitalization?
What's that?
What's DRI?
The Downtown Revitalization Initiative, that was the $10 million grant
Oh,
application.
gotcha.
Village
Gotcha. Okay.
And the village was not awarded. Tupper Lake and Messina were awarded. And the response from ESD on why they received the grant and not Lawville, Tupper Lake has a lot of private investment already. And Messina's been on the list for many, many years. So.
Gotcha. Thank you.
And with the state of the state address yesterday, some cool new programs that are actually coming out with the state. They're launching a program called New York Forward, which is going to be like a mini version of the DRI process. It's going to be focused on like smaller downtowns, smaller projects, kind of a plan, design, and build type of concept, very similar to the DRI. So that's exciting. That's something that our small communities will be able to take advantage of. And they're also bringing back the Restore New York grant, which is great. That's an awesome grant program to help rehabilitate or tear down blighted buildings. It's ESD funds 90% of the project costs. So it's a really great grant program. We use that grant for the Lions Falls Mill project. I think we got awarded a couple times through Restore. So. Yeah, we'll continue to think about the building and we'll talk more about it at our next projects committee meeting. Because that would be a large project. And just want to let you all know that we are about to launch round 2 of our micro enterprise grant. If you can all recall, in 2018, the county was awarded $200,000. This is the CDBG micro enterprise grants that we awarded to like Black River Valley Natural and the Bateman Bar and Restaurant in Lowville, Cummings Cream Line Milk. So the county was awarded another $200,000 in 2021, and we're about to launch a new program. We're going to revamp how we market the program. In the past, it was just, hey, business community, we have grants available between $5,000 and $35,000. Submit your projects. We were able to fund 6 businesses. Unfortunately, one of those businesses, we've had to recapture those grant funds. Osceola Ski and Sport Resort, they were not able to fulfill the job creation requirement that qualified them for the grant. So they have to pay back that grant, unfortunately. So with this new revamped grant program, we're making it a business competition where, if you can scroll down to the grant award amounts, we're breaking the grant award amounts into, we're going to fund one $30,000 award, 5 $20,000 awards, and 5 $10,000 awards. So instead of only funding 6 businesses, we're going to try to fund 11 businesses. And also provide, other technical assistance to go with those grants. So we're really excited to launch this program. We're trying to come up with a new name for it. We're going to kind of rebrand the program and make it a little bit more competitive on our end. So we will be launching that at the end of January. Any questions on that program? And Goggin is on our loan committee. Our loan committee consists of some outside members of the community. The loan committee will be vetting all of these applications that we get in for this grant.
Will any of the previous awarded businesses be eligible for these?
Nope. And we're going to keep the targeted projects to food and beverage and value added processing, tourism and recreation based businesses, and businesses who are located in a downtown or who want to relocate to a downtown to fill some of our vacant storefronts. Any questions on that? All right, and lastly, I asked Jenna to just give an update on our DBA Lewis County Entrepreneurship Program and just give updates on where we're at.
Thanks. So as you know, we approved $30,000 towards this program back in August, I think it was, right? And since then, we've been testing out this pilot program. December 15th, we actually launched it to the public through press releases and have had some good press coverage on the radio. There'll be a article in NNY Business in February, and Lincoln Lewis County put it out. So there's been some buzz over the holidays. So previous to putting it out, we had 20 people in the program when we launched it on December 15th. We now have 34 people in the program. So in a month, we've gained 15 new entrepreneurs and small businesses. Just wanted to share a few statistics from that. One being the businesses that are coming to us are all over the board. 10 of them are pre-launch stage, so they don't have a business plan at all. They have an idea. And this program is really going to help them accelerate through, get them in touch with the SBDC to get a business plan going, and point them in the direction of some other consultants and partners that we can help accelerate that plan for them. We have 14 in the startup phase. In less than a year they've been in business, so they're really looking for, again, some of them need business planning help, but others need help with marketing or financial operations assistance or access to capital. And then we have a few in the 1 to 3 year stage, and so on. So a good balance of businesses that are fresh entrepreneurs, and then the other half is small businesses that have been in operation for a little while. That we're finding that their needs are very different, but also expected. So I can see in the future, we almost split them into 2 separate groups, entrepreneurs and scaling up small businesses. But we've really been learning along the way, and the businesses are very attentive to that, and we can learn as much from them as they're learning from us. So it's been really cool. Wanted to also share that the types of businesses are all over the board. If you look at the types of industries, retail is at the top of the list. Manufacturing and professional services are also in the top 3 types of industries. And then it trickles down. We have a couple of tourism businesses, health and human services, education. So really all over the board, which is really cool that we're not really targeting one industry over the other. It's open to all businesses that are looking to launch or scale their businesses. And lastly, we ask in this survey that they take initially, what types of things do they think they need assistance with? Some of them check every single thing on the list, which is okay. We try to prioritize with them at that point, a couple things to focus on in a 1 to 3 month period. But as you can see from this graph, business plan and strategy remains at the top of the list, followed by marketing and communications, which when we started this program, that was one thing we knew that was going to be a highlight. And naturally, we've had a growing number of consultants in that area as well. So we have a few graphic designers. We have a few small scale marketing companies, one being an entrepreneur also in the program. We are also working with, who else in the marketing field am I missing? Oh, a couple photographers as well, product photographers, videographers. So that is the area where we have the most consultants. And then financial operations, we have a few accountants that are working in that space that we're referring people to. So as far as providing incentives to these different entrepreneurs and small businesses, we've used $4,000 since August out of that $30,000 that we put into this program. And with the large influx of entrepreneurs over the last month, I think that we will continue to use those funds, and we're looking at some more creative funding streams for this program for the future as well. That is in a nutshell where we're at. We're also looking to continue to promote the program to people that haven't heard of it yet. It's obviously very new. And Brittany and Cheyenne have been very helpful in getting it out into the community as well. Did I miss anything? I'm sure I did.
Want to give an example of a business that's gone through it that maybe is using multiple services?
Absolutely. Sterling Roots is a jewelry company out of Krogan. She's been one that has used several of the different consultants. She is using leadership and strategy development with human Human Factor Leadership, which is Christy's company. She's also used some marketing dollars for videography and content creation through Novel Marketing Co. We've also put her in touch with some of our partners that don't necessarily cost anything. So she's been working with the SBDC on improving her business plan. She's one business that doesn't necessarily need capital to improve or scale up. It's a lot of different marketing things. And if you follow her on social media, she's actually been featured in NNY Business as well. She's really gained a lot of traction through these new developments through the program, which is really exciting. Mag's Creation is another one. He's worked with us for quite a while, has a storefront on Fort Drum, and he is really looking to scale up his business. He's doing really well, has increased fourfold over the last year in sales through a pandemic, if you can believe that. So it's really having him narrow in on the types of products that are doing really well for him. So this program allows him to get in touch with the right people to narrow in on those things. And with that approach, we've created kind of an incubator space for him. So we've been able to bring in all of the right people to the table so that he doesn't have to tell his story over and over again to get answers, which we'll continue to do in the future with small businesses that need a variety of different things, is to try to get as many people in that conversation at the beginning as possible. Questions?
Good stuff.
Yeah, our hope is, you know, with some of these consultants that we are contracting with, I mean, they, like, for example, Kelsey Blackwell with Blackwell Bookkeeping, she came to us in the spring, wanted to start this business, became a consultant of our program. So she's going through this program, but she's also helping entrepreneurs with their bookkeeping that are going through the program. And she just recently went full-time with her business. So my hope for this program is a lot of these consultants that we work with, we're sending them all of these entrepreneurs to work with, they're providing services to the entrepreneurs. They're becoming so busy that, hey, maybe they need to create a new job for themselves while helping entrepreneurs become busy to create new jobs for their business. So we're finding ways, that's one of our goals for this year, is to figure out how to quantify the results of this program, and making sure that we're keeping track of, new jobs created and dollars invested in the community, things like that.
And I'll just add that if you want to share this with any businesses or entrepreneurs in the community, we have a page on our website, Doing Business as Lewis County. The survey is right on there, and that is our prompt to reach out to them. Otherwise, they can reach out to me or any of us directly, and we can get them going. Thank you.
Any other questions there?
Had maybe my 400th conversation with somebody last night about the shortage of HVAC and electricians and tradespeople in general. And I'm hoping this program helps people feel comfortable with going into those fields from the angle that there's assistance to get you off the ground. Obviously this isn't the specific training for the trade, but all the other stuff that you need to do to run your own business. Hopefully we can start to target some of those industries too through it.
And I think that's, as we bring in different businesses, we're going to see where the gaps lie too, whether it's if we need a workforce development program for the trades, or if it's a specific certification for food processing. I think those types of things are going to come out of these conversations.
Cool. So that's. Anything else? Yeah, anything else from the board?
Want to mention our,
Oh, yeah. So in place of one of the committee meetings this month, there'll be a strategic planning presentation to a joint meeting with, both boards, on the 18th. And that's just an update on the, work by the staff on, strategic planning for the coming year and updates on where we're at. And then, our February board meeting will be February 3rd.
In relation to the IDA and LCDC strategic planning session and working together more. So we've streamlined board meetings so that the LCDC board is going to meet at 10 o'clock every other month following this board meeting. So anyone's welcome to stay and attend those meetings as well. And the thought was to get the two boards together on a quarterly basis. So you can attend each other's board meetings, but we're gonna do a good job at getting the two boards together on a quarterly basis. And this will be the first joint meeting to discuss economic development strategy for 2022 and how we can use both boards and the IDA and LCDC as tools to reach our goals.
All right. If there's nothing else for today, we'll take a motion to adjourn. Herb, second. Tom, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Everyone.